This new radio recently arrived. It's a prototype. It's Xiegu or Xiegu, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. It's not so much how you pronounce it in China, it's more how we decide to pronounce it in the UK. So Xiegu or Xiegu. Anyway, it's a shack-in-the-box radio. It's a prototype. Let's take a look. Yes, it's arrived. The Xiegu X6200, or at least it's arrived as a prototype. The production models will be available fairly shortly. But let me just show you around it very quickly, and then we'll take a more in-depth view of it. I should have dusted the front of that radio a bit before I shot that video, shouldn't I? Oh, by the way, I hope you like the classical music, a bit of music I composed just as an experiment. Anyway, there we are. Now, the X6200, some differences. Well, the first thing you notice is the power is now 8 watts maximum instead of 10 watts. And on the internal battery it's 4 watts instead of 5 watts. That really makes very little difference, but what it does do, I think it reduces the heat generated in the transceiver, and also it makes the battery last a bit longer. On the 6100 I used to find on 10 watts it got quite warm, and I used to turn the power down a bit, so I haven't got a problem with that. And you've probably got about a 1 dB difference in signal, so it's not that significant. Colour display, I think, is somewhat sharper. It's a 4-inch colour display, very nice. And what have they added? Well, they've added the FM broadcast band, so you can listen to a bit of music or the latest news. They've also added the aircraft band, the VHF aircraft band, so if you go to air shows then you can listen to the aircraft band and all the activity. And they've added FT8 decode, and that's quite an interesting feature. I don't operate FT8 myself, but it's quite handy to be able to listen to it and decode it and see what's happening. So if you're into FT8, or at least if you want to be a bit curious as to what all these funny sounds are, then you'll be able to decode it on the screen. The radio's a tad bigger than the previous one. It's got rounded corners, solidly made. I like the front handles, so you can easily change the battery. It's a true shack-in-the-box with a built-in microphone and a PTT on the top, and of course you've got an internal antenna tuner. So let's see what you get in the box. You get a printed instruction manual. At the time of this review there was no downloaded manual, but I'm sure there will be. You get, interestingly enough, an AC charging supply. This is a 2-pin one. Whether they'll supply a 3-pin one or will provide an adapter, I'm not sure at the moment, but anyway, you have got an AC adapter to charge the radio. You also got a DC lead, and of course that DC lead can also be used to charge the radio as well. You get a data lead. One end is USB, the other is USB-C, and you also get an external microphone, of course, and this microphone is quite comprehensive. As well as being up-down frequency control, etc., you can directly enter frequencies, you can change the mode, you can select memories, etc. So it's quite a comprehensive microphone. And in fact, if you want direct frequency entry, then the microphone is the way to go. The 6200 has the common modes SSB, CW, AM and FM, and these are selected by the 3 buttons top left on the panel. On the left hand side is the single BNC antenna socket and the DC power input. Let's talk about our first QSO. The first QSO, we're going to plug the microphone into the transceiver, and then we need to match the antenna. So the second button along on the top is the ATU button, and we press that and hold it in, and the transceiver starts to match the antenna. First time it'll take a little while, but next time it's pretty quick. And you notice on the top screen there we've got the tune button. That indicates the ATU is in circuit. If I quickly tap the ATU button, it takes the ATU out of circuit. Press it again and we've got the ATU back. You may have noticed also that we've got a power set in there. It's set to 4 watts at the moment. If I go into the menu system here, you'll see that we've got a menu item which allows us to actually adjust the power level. But if we come out there, because, well, let's go back and just explain this. When you go into the menu system, you've got a select button there. That select button selects any one of those menu items and puts it on the front display. And that item appears there. At the moment I've selected the power output, which is 4 watts. And conveniently, if I rotate the outer button here, I can actually adjust the power. So it's quite a handy feature. You go down to 100 milliwatts. So having the power control there is quite convenient. And we're then ready to go. Let me show you. I'll speak into the microphone and you'll see the power come up on the display. This is Golf 3 Oscar Juliet Victor G30JV. Golf 3 Oscar Juliet Victor G30JV testing. Now you may have noticed that there wasn't much power coming out, and the reason for that is I need to adjust the mic gain control. So let's go back into the setting here. Now you'll see that the mic gain control has been set to a very low level at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the mic gain. You'll see it go up now. We'll go up to around about, say, I don't know, 24. We've now increased the mic gain to 24. Come out of that and we'll now give another call and see what happens. This is Golf 3 Oscar Juliet Victor G30JV testing, and you'll see that we got a good power level out. So we've adjusted the mic gain, and it's that simple to make adjustments in this transceiver. Let me briefly explain how you adjust the tuning. Steps on this radio. You've got a button there which is FST, which I think stands for frequency steps, and that every time you press that changes the steps. I'll just show you on the front of the radio how it works. If you look at the frequency displayed there, you'll see to the right you've got 3 digits, and the slowest tuning rate is 10 Hertz. There is a 0 to the left of the 10, which would be 1 Hertz, but I'm not sure whether that is adjustable in any mode. I couldn't get that to adjust. It looks to be 10 Hertz steps, so that 0 remains 0. Now if I press this FST button once, it goes up to 100 Hertz steps. If I go and press it again, it gives me 1 kilohertz step, and this central knob here will give me 10 kilohertz steps. So you can move around pretty quickly on the radio. One of the things I thought I'd try was to put an external speaker into what is labelled the external speaker socket, although I have been using it for headphones, and I was quite impressed with the audio coming out of an external speaker, particularly the level, and particularly as it was being operated on its internal battery, that is the X6200 operating from its internal battery. Take a listen.
Behind with the 2-band trap dipole in 50 meter over the ground and in a northwest position. That's my choice. All the best to your site. Enjoy your activation for your special event station, and hope to see you sometimes again. Back to you, GB.
So the external speaker performance is a big plus point. The top left control here controls both the receiver volume, the RF gain and the squelch, and when you press this it cycles through the various options. And if you go into the main menu, you've got an RF preamp you can select, and also you've got an RF attenuator, so the front end is pretty well catered for. On SSB you've got 3 filters. You've got the wide filter, medium filter and the narrow filter. On CW you've also got 3 filters, but obviously a lot narrower. Got the wide, medium and narrow. You've also got separate filters for AM and FM. In each filter position you've got two filters, a blue and a red one, and you can move the blue one around and then select the red one and move the red one around, and that effectively narrows the pass band. Alternatively, you can move both filters in the same direction to give either high frequency boost or low frequency boost. If we go into the display menu, we've got quite a few menu items. We can change the proportion of waterfall to the spectrum display, we can change the spectrum width, we can change the backlighting, we can change colour of some of the items on the display, and we can adjust level. So it's quite comprehensive, and you'll be able to set up the display just as you want. So now it was time to actually put the transceiver on the air and make a contact. I chose 40 metres, and well, this is the contact I had and how it all worked out. Okay, John, Golf Zero, Oscar Papa. For this contact I was running just 4 watts from the internal battery, and I then asked John for a report on the transmit audio quality.
Put it this way to you, Peter, I was receiving a width of 2.4, and I've just turned the width down, well not just now, a few minutes ago, to 1.95, and you're absolutely crystal clear. I can ask you down to 1.8, but then that's getting a little bit too narrow. So as far as I'm concerned, Peter, the audio is absolutely superb. QSL.
Well, it worked fine on SSB, so let's see how you set it up for CW. To operate CW, press this button here which is labelled key. That brings up the menu, and then you can set the type of key you're using, the speed, the frequency of the tone and the tone level. And on CW you can operate full break-in. Now here's an interesting feature. If we press the button there which is labelled app, which brings up some applications, and we press modem, and we can select a menu item there which enables us to decode CW on the screen there. So I wouldn't use it for operation because like all decoders you've got to fiddle about and make sure you adjust it correctly to read the CW. But if you're not a CW operator and you want to sort of hear what's going on, then it's quite an interesting feature. Now let's see if I can demonstrate the FT8 decoder built in, which is quite interesting actually. So we press the app button and we press FT8. We go into the decode mode, and you should see in a bit some FT8. And there you can see it's it has decoded these messages. Built into it is simply a decoder. You can't send FT8 on the transceiver itself. You need to interface with a computer, but it's an interesting aspect to be able to actually decode FT8 on the screen and just see what's coming through. Some additional features I've discovered: you can have direct cable link between the transceiver and the linear. You've got a USB-C for PC communication. You've got provisional for remote control, although they don't explain it in detail, and you can connect to Wi-Fi, and you've also got Bluetooth connection, and you can also decode RTTY. So how long's the battery going to last? Well, that's always a difficult one, isn't it? It's a 3.2 amp hour battery, and I calculate that you should be able to get continuous receive for around about 5 hours. You can make the screen go to sleep, and of course you can turn the volume down and do all sorts of things, but I reckon that on continuous receive you're going to get around about 5 hours of performance. As regards sort of transmit, receive, well, I reckon typically you'll get at least 3 hours from that battery running 4 watts. Now, of course, if you turn your power down to 3 watts or even 2 watts, then you're going to extend the life. So I would say probably you can go out for 3 hours with the internal battery and have no problem, provided you don't talk too long. And if you get fed up with listening to the ham radio bands, well, you can go on to the FM broadcast band. Bit of music, perhaps catch up with the latest news, whatever takes your fancy. So that's a handy feature. And you can also tune into the VHF air band if things get really boring on the ham radio bands and there's nothing to listen to on the FM broadcast band.
Police, Turkish 17 Kilo Charlie. 132205, bye-bye, thank you, Turkish 17 Kilo Charlie.
So what else can I tell you about this radio? Oh, you can record CW messages. I think it's 5 messages you can record. You can also record audio messages on SSB, but you do need to use an SD card. By the way, I should have mentioned there is an SD card slot on the side of the radio as well. And what else can I do? Oh, you can measure VSWR. There's quite a nice VSWR measurement or spectrum display on the radio. Let me just show you that. You press the app button there, you press SWR and you press start and it will scan across the band. Just like that. I think it's quite nice. Other things the radio's got is got a notch filter on it, it's got noise reduction. The noise reduction is quite good actually, and I would say it's probably about the same as most modern transceivers now. It does the job. It won't uncover signals that are buried in the noise, but it will improve the signal to noise ratio. So if you've got a guy chatting to you and there's a lot of background noise, it will cut that background noise out, but it won't recover signals that are buried in the noise. But that's the same with most noise reduction circuits. So what is it like? Well, it's a nice little transceiver actually. It's got a lot of features. Now I have to say that they've sent us a draft manual, and it isn't only a draft because there's certain things in there that they don't cover at all, and things that I've found on there which aren't mentioned in the book, but I guess there's features which I haven't discovered. The spec seems to be good. I found the performance okay. I found that the attenuator, I needed the attenuator in on 40 meters at night, but during the day I didn't, and the selectivity seems to be quite good, and it's a nice unit. It seems a solid unit. It looks and feels rugged, so I think it'll be ideal as a portable radio. And as I said before, they've reduced the power level, and I think they've reduced the power level in order to reduce the current consumption with really negligible difference in the actual strength of the signal. We're talking about probably about a dB down, which is neither here nor there. The radio will be available fairly shortly, and we are the main distributors for that radio, and we've got some very good sort of dialogue going between ourselves and Xiegu. I don't think that the radio is going to change that much. I think what you see now is what you'll get, but I suspect there will be 1 or 2 firmware tweaks. And by the way, if you want to update the firmware, all you do is you just download it onto the SD card, pop the SD card in and go into the menu item. And there's also a reset menu item, a sort of factory reset, which is always very useful, particularly when you first got the radio. You know, you get yourself into a bit of a pickle sometimes. You think, oh gosh, I really need to reset this and start it again. Well, there is a menu item there that does that, so that's good. So there we are. I hope it's been of help to you. I've enjoyed the I've been playing around with it now for about 10 days. I've enjoyed it actually, and I think it'll be good fun. I haven't had a chance to take it out portable yet. I was going out portable this week, but things changed, so I couldn't get out. But I will do. But from what I've seen and what I've what I've played about with, I've found no real issues at all with it. And you heard, of course, when I did the test, that the audio quality on the transmitted signal is good. I've used it quite a lot on CW. I love CW actually, and it's very good. There we are. That's the Xiegu X6200. Be with us shortly. If you want to place an order, give us a call or get in touch with us by email. We'll be happy to put you on the list. And I don't think there's going to be a shortage. Normally when Xiegu ship, they ship good quantities. So there we are. In the meantime, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for your company over the last 20 minutes or so. And enjoy your ham radio. You take care. And as usual, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.